Pick up any AAA game on the market today, and you're more than likely to find a skill tree or some form of progression system. Why? Because skills and skill progression can be fantastic ways to provide players with choices on how they play, develop, and engage with the virtual world around them. Workplaces around the world are looking to provide their people the same. What are the skills you have within an organization, the skills you need, and the skills people want? How will people develop and progress? How do I make sure they want to do it with my organization? These are key questions facing business leaders today. So, how could you go about trying to answer those questions? How could video games provide solutions to the fundamental challenges of upskilling the workplace? This is Ready Employee 1, the channel looking at what video games can teach us about the future of learning and work. In this series, we're looking at what the best games are doing around skills, progression, and player choice, what we can learn from them, and how we can potentially apply that to work. Not all games need skills, skill trees, and progression systems. The Uncharted series is an incredibly popular narrative-driven action-adventure game with nary a skill tree in sight. Stray, a game where you play as a cat, and as you'd expect, is brilliant, doesn't either. Mostly because we know cats believe themselves to be perfect already. These two games are honestly surprising by their absence of progression systems of some sort. Even similarly linear games like the God of War series have skill trees and unlocks. It comes back to the central concept that progression systems aim to provide the player choice on how they want to engage and develop in the game world. They are not, however, universally successful. Like the games that fall short with their progression systems, companies can end up offering employees something that looks like it's full of choices, but ultimately leaves them unengaged and directionless. In this series, we're exploring the questions you should be asking yourself when you think about implementing a skills and progression system in your workplace. To make this easier to digest, we'll do this in two parts. Part 1, how are you thinking about skills and what are you offering? Part 2, what does progression look like and how does it happen? Throughout, we'll share what top-rated games are doing and how those different systems leave their players feeling.
Gotta be careful.
The bigger and more complex your company and the work you do, the more skills you might think you need. However, there is an argument to be made that increasing complexity doesn't have to mean an increase in the number of skills. Games like The Witcher 3, Horizon Forbidden West, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and Skyrim offer a lot of skills. Those games helpfully bucket those skills into different groupings. Those groupings highlight different playstyles. It's designed this way to help the player to understand what they want to focus on and progress in. The sheer number of options means that you're unlikely to find two players who take the exact same path when it comes to skill choice and progression. In comparison to those more voluminous skill catalogues, Deathloop originally only gave you 5 skills to play with, and you can only ever equip 2 at a time. Over time you can upgrade these skills, but the core of them stays the same. They're versions of, rather than brand new. This restriction of skills forces players to look at the world differently. You have to make smarter decisions about the strategies you use and customize for the mission at hand. In games like The Witcher 3, you have your loadout and you face the world. In Deathloop, the world forces you to consider your options every time. Are you looking for your learners to fill up a list of skills, to show a breadth of capabilities? Or do you want to force creativity through a scarcity of choices? A larger list of skills provides people with excitement for all the things they can unlock later. A small list makes the future seem more manageable and achievable. Skills and progression for an individual offers huge amounts of choice in their learning and development. However, it misses a crucial data point: everyone else. In Rainbow Six Siege, each hero cannot do everything, meaning the player must play their role and let and expect others to play theirs. Whether you're playing FIFA or any other EA Sports game, you are part of a larger team, and you have a role to play on it. The question remains though, who gets to be messy, and who gets to be, not messy? Who gets to go for the most in-demand skills? Everyone? A select few? Are you identifying and dealing with duplication of skills? Are there certain skills everyone should have? Are there certain builds that are going to be more popular? What happens when someone doesn't get to play the build they want? Calling them all skills is a bit of a misnomer. Or more importantly, not calling them all skills is an opportunity. What skills and skill progression looks like varies widely across games. Here are some examples. Deathloop provides players with powers they can employ on missions: invisibility, teleportation, etc. Those are skills. However, alongside those, it provides buffs to improve their attributes. Move faster whilst aiming, take less damage, use your doohickeys from greater distances. Not skills, but very useful for determining how you want to play, and again, limited to a few at a time. Elden Ring has you upgrade attributes that improve or change your impact on the world around you, and your ability to wield certain tools. Not necessarily skills, but your core abilities like strength, dexterity, vigor. The weapons, armor, equipment you use is locked behind attribute levels. Rather than unlocking the tools, you make sure you're capable of using them. Sekiro and Dredge offer new moves like powerful blows or improved acceleration, tools like new nets or firecrackers to stun opponents, and other abilities to face the world. None of those are skills, but again, different ways to play the game how you want to. And in the biggest, most AAA role-playing games, and those with RPG elements, they offer all of the above in some way or another. What are the options you'll provide your people? Skills like report writing, tools like certifications. But are you limiting yourself by only considering skills in the truest sense? What about buffs? Be front of the line for IT queries. Get double utilization for 24 hours. What about new moves? Get to call in a new team member. What about access to new tools that only a select can use? By expanding what you think of as skills, you open up more possibilities for how people will engage at work. More choices, more ways to play. By giving players more choice, it often leads to new, emergent ways of approaching challenges that developers and employers could never have imagined. The idea goes that the longer you play, the more varied the choices on offer to the player in how they choose to customize their character. Something games often fail at is making those choices worth it. Whether you go for a large or compact list of skills, tools, buffs for your people, make sure they'll be interested in any of them. Know that there will be tough decisions to make on who gets which skills, and what skills people have to get, whether they're interested or not. The skills you need won't always be the skills your people want, but how you package up that progression needs to be done in a way that keeps them engaged. And that is what we're going to cover in part 2. Tell me in the comments, what's the best skill, buff or tool you've ever unlocked in a game? See you next time, and don't forget to like, share and subscribe.